Joining us now, economic strategist and wealth manager at Scarlet Oak Financial, Newton Stacy, plus economist at the American Institute for Economic Research, Tom Savage. Good to see you both. Francis, I want to start with you, something I think you want to talk about. And I see what President Trump is doing here with these tariffs, the ultimate goal is to bring these jobs back home. The long-term GDP growth this can ultimately create for Americans.
Absolutely. If somebody doesn't understand the multi-dimensional chess that he's playing, they can be overwhelmed with kind of the quick back and forth that's occurring. In the short term, the goal of tariffs is to create leverage and to get these other countries interested in a discussion. And that is happening with Mexico and Canada right now. So it looks very volatile in that he's placing the tariffs, he's unplacing the tariffs, he's willing to talk, but he's using that leverage to basically get them to do things that we want and have them capitulate. Why does that work? It works because an enormous percentage of their exports, and because it's such an enormous percentage of the exports of both Canada and more so Mexico, our American consumerism is what feeds their gross domestic product, their GDP, their growth. And so what happens is when we threaten their growth by saying, okay, we're going to take the American consumer off the table, that threatens their GDP, which threatens their leadership, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the short-term goal. The long-term goal of these tariffs is, and Elon Musk said it best in his November appearance on the All In podcast, we're trying to switch the operating basis of the country, or the operating system from the tech terminology, from a mainly public sector supported government stimulus and spending type GDP model into a more private sector income-based GDP model. So right now, fiscal spending in the Biden era was very responsible for a lot of the growth, and he's trying to switch that over.
Tom, what is your perspective on all this? What happens next?
Well, that remains to be seen. But I think really the key word here is uncertainty. Because, unfortunately, even if there is some grand plan or grand design, nobody besides the people in the Oval Office know what's going on. And that creates uncertainty. That creates uncertainty not just in financial markets. It's not just a blip on a chart. That creates uncertainty for everyday Americans at the grocery store, at the gas pump, everywhere they go. Because, as was mentioned, it affects not just production materials, it affects groceries, it affects fruits, it affects medications. And as John mentioned just a little while ago, some of those goods aren't going to be covered by tariffs under the USMCA with the goods coming from Mexico. And so ultimately, uncertainty is going to rule the day. And that is going to make people hesitant to buy. It's going to make people unsure of how to plan the next month or year. And that's really what's going to hurt Americans the most. So I would say a low-hanging fruit for the Trump administration would really be to set out a plan, make it clear, make it predictable, and allow people to plan within those set parameters.
Yeah, of course, the president inheriting a lot of bad economic policies and more from, of course, President Biden. He did warn that it could be bumpy for a while. I'm paraphrasing again. It does seem like he has a plan. We're all waiting and watching to find out exactly how it plays out. All right, Francis and Tom, thank you.
Thank you.